So hi everyone and welcome today on the webinar we are happy to organize with Corinne from the company Breezeway. So as you know, Breezeway is one of our partner application. Breezeway is a property care platform that can help you actually to handle all the tasks that you have to manage for your property care and so on. So we're super happy that you are doing this webinar today for us, Corinne. I will let you introduce Breezeway to our clients and also maybe explain the benefits of using such a platform. If you have also some recommendations on the current situation, the COVID crisis that we are facing, that would be awesome. I think it's a great opportunity for us to see how your platform can help property managers not only to, I would say, satisfy the guest expectations, but also owners. I think we had the discussion previously, but I think it's also very nice that your system can send some reports to the owners to show them that you're actually delivering the best service for their property, which is, I think, very important for owners to trust your conciergerie or your company. And yeah, so yeah, you will explain it better than myself. So super happy to to have this webinar with you today. I'll let you start. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. So on the right side of the screen, there is a chat and you can ask the questions. I suggest that after Corinne's presentation, we also have a live Q&A session. If you want to ask live questions, we will be happy to answer them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Thanks, Audrey, so much for having us and including us on this webinar today. Really excited to be here and to talk a little bit about the climate that we're in today and look at how property management, short-term rental managers are really able to look at professionalizing the operations that they're providing to, as you said, not only meet the demands of their guests who are coming and staying with them, but those demands of their homeowners who have chosen to work with them and have them represent their homes. So I want to start off quickly with a little bit of background on myself and on Breezeway. I'm going to take a quick look at the climate of what's going on today and where some folks are finding challenges, and then we'll talk also about how Breezeway can help address those and help you to continue to elevate this particular part of your business. So as Audrey said, my name is Corinne Oki. I am the VP of Client Experience here at Breezeway. So we work with all of our existing clients to make sure they have a fantastic experience on the platform and are really leveraging the system to the best of its capability for them. I have been with the company since very early on, but I have been in this industry since 2008. So I spent the first 7 or 8 years of my career with Flipkey and TripAdvisor, which many folks know, obviously has a really large volume of short-term rental and holiday properties that are rentable. And I spent a lot of time there and I really learned a lot about what goes on, but I learned a lot about what goes on the marketing and the distribution and the guest review side of things. And so coming to Breezeway, this was a bit of a shift in mentality because I personally I knew that operations were happening, but I didn't really understand the breadth and depth of what was actually happening and how people were actually achieving the cleaning and the maintenance and the maintaining of those homes. So it's been really interesting over the last 4 or so years to learn a lot more about the back of house operations and all of the efforts that go into that, and to work with so many professional managers across the world who are really diving into this. So for folks who are not familiar with Breezeway, and this is the first time that you're hearing about our company or what we do and how we help people, Breezeway is a complete operational software. So we really focus on providing you and your business with the tools that you need to deliver great property care. So we're talking about the cleaning and the cleaning schedule and making sure that everything that needs to be done is done correctly, that the inspections or quality assurance audits are being done, that you're maintaining the home through maintenance, both responsive, right? When a guest or an owner asks for something or tells you something isn't working, but also from a recurring sort of preventative scope. And so we have a mobile app that your team can use when they're out in the field completing this work, and a really robust desktop version that gives you a lot of visibility and functionality and drives a lot of accountability to your team. And so as we go through the slide, you're going to see some of that play out. In addition to our operations model or operations product that I just spoke to, we also have a division of the company that is focused very much on safety. And that's obviously an incredibly important part of the business as well. Making sure that not only are the homes clean and ready for guests, but they're safe for you to welcome guests, and that you're doing all of the necessary steps for that. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But before we do, let's just take a quick look and kind of step back. As Audrey mentioned, if anyone has questions, feel free to add those in. We'll go through and answer any that come in towards the end of the presentation. But, you know, the one thing I want to say is that you guys are all experts at what you're doing every day. This is your business. You have learned sometimes the hard way, sometimes, you know, in other ways. But, you know, my goal in every one of these webinars that I participate in is to really help you take a look at what you're doing and evaluate if what you're doing is really best. And if there are even small incremental improvements that you can make that will have a big impact on your business. So as we do that, you know, I want you to sort of take a second and think about some of the challenges or the environment in which this industry operates in. You'll see here on this little chart on the left, you know, there are a lot of things stacked against us on some days. May feel like that. You've all got unique properties with different attributes and different, you know, amenities that they offer. You've got individual homeowners, all of whom believe that their home is the most important home on your portfolio, and that their needs are the most. So there's a balancing act that you're playing. You've also got geography, right? You don't, in all cases, have your homes in one building, like let's say a hotel may have. So you've got individual locations that are spread out, which means that servicing those homes needs to be a little bit more strategic. But we also work on unpredictability with scheduling and sometimes staffing. A lot of last minute bookings that are coming in, and the need to be able to shift and adjust as you need, as necessary throughout the day and week. I don't know how often I talk to people and they say, I make my housekeeping schedule on Thursday and by Friday morning it is totally different. So you know, we recognize that, and our system is really purpose built to help assist you with that. You know, we have seen 2020 and all of its glory has really exacerbated the need and accelerated the trend that we were already seeing about safety and cleanliness of homes and making sure that they're well maintained. That's just really sort of catapulted that into something that is even more incredibly important for the success of your business. So, you know, I think as we start to think about this, keep in mind that we recognize all of these things on this left-hand slide, or left-hand side of the slide are happening, and our system is going to be built to really help you address those complexities in your business and make sure that it's manageable for you. Before we move on to the next slide, I do want to also talk about the two stats that you see here. So these are the results of a property operations survey that Breezeway conducted earlier this year. We had respondents in over 15 countries participate in this survey. And the two things that I want to call out, the first is that 49% of people see property operations tech as a really important part of their business. I think if we were to have done this survey even a year or two ago, that would have been a much lower number. But again, all of the things that have changed this year have really kind of identified and strengthened the need that this information and having a technology that's really purpose built and focused on this is super important. And I think it's not really a surprise, right, that nearly everyone who responded is planning to take action and strengthen their property care programs that they're running, whether or not they choose to leverage a technology to do that. They are planning to make some changes to how they're doing that. For us, that's super exciting because we are the property care technology, and that's what we do. We help people actually make those improvements. So let's get into it and talk about what can you do to actually make some of those improvements, and how can you update that into your day-to-day. So the first one, I think revisiting the frequency, the length, the content of what you're doing is really important. I've said this a number of times, so I'm definitely on the record saying this, but the housekeepers or the folks that you were working with a year ago who were doing an okay job, the people who got the job done, maybe not to the level with which you would like for them to do, it really no longer works, right? Those are not the people that should be representing your company today. It's time to take a really hard look at what you're doing, and it doesn't say it on this slide, but also who is doing it. It's important to look at, how often are you servicing these homes? How often are you going in and doing a deep clean? Is it once a year? Are you doing mini deep cleans throughout the year, where maybe you're doing it every quarter or every other quarter? It's super important to look at what you've done and what you're doing. We saw a lot of companies change this, not only in how often they're doing things, but being a lot more prescriptive in what they're doing. So I know a lot of times, specifically companies who don't employ their housekeeping teams, just say, we work with this company and they do the clean. They clean it and they tell us that it's clean and it's done. Giving and being a little bit more involved in that today is going to be really beneficial for your organization. This is a really great time to not only review, but to reset what you're doing, and how you're doing it. And I think you're going to see some really good response to that. It's also a time where we should be looking at, what are the common themes? How often do things happen? Are we missing things every time that we're going in and doing a clean, and we're always getting a call about something left in a drawer, or there being something under a bed? Use the data that you have to actually work for you, right? You're doing all of this. Let's take that information, take those learnings, and make better decisions on how we're going to act and react to those in the future. So I think, when you think about using the work, it's not only about what we're hearing from guests and what we're consistently getting feedback on, but it's also using things like, how long does the clean actually take? Are we expecting that a clean is taking 4 hours, but it's only ever taking the housekeeping team an hour and a half? There is a really strong reason to look at that information and use that to make better decisions about how you schedule work. If a cleaner or cleaning partner is expected to do a clean for 4 hours, but it only takes them an hour and a half, when you're looking at the schedule, you may not be really leveraging all of their available time. And so we don't have necessarily the resource allocation the way that we should. So use the information and make sure that you're making those decisions on efficiency and completing of work, a little more strategically. The other is thinking about how you can modernize what you're doing. I totally get it. Most companies have had to be very reliant on texting and calls and emails, and it's had to be a very manual process. Thinking about how you can leverage connectivity, and this is, I think, a lot of where the property care technology comes in. Creating flows of work that can communicate between one another. So, for example, and we'll talk about this in a minute or so, but at Breezeway, you can create what we call a workflow, which is these 3 jobs need to happen. When the first job is completed, it's going to notify the next person that they can go in and do their job. So what that allows you to do is to move more quickly and take action faster. But it also reduces downtime when there's no one in a unit actually completing work. What it also does is it frees up yourself or that person on your staff who is getting the call that says the cleaner is ready, the cleaner is done. Now we're going to tell the next person. So instead of using an individual to facilitate that conversation and that sort of cadence through the day, we're using technology to do that. We'll talk a little bit more about this as we sort of get into Breezeway's system. One other stat from that survey that I want to call out here is the 79%. 79% of respondents plan on customizing their housekeeping checklists. We're going to talk about this also, but keep that stat in mind because that's a pretty high level. And if you're using the same checklist or the same instructions across that myriad of homes that you represent, we might not be getting the most out of our team. We also want to think about that quality assurance and safety. So I spoke a little bit about this earlier, but as we think about how can we increase the confidence from our guests, which creates a better experience that they stay, they have better things to say, they leave you more positive reviews. Quality assurance and safety plays a big part in that. It's super important if you're not, and I certainly realize it's not feasible for every company with how they're sort of set up. But if you have the ability and you are able to inspect the work that is being done by your cleaners, making sure that the property is not only clean to your liking and nothing has been missed, but also that it's guest ready, because I think that there's a difference, right? Your cleaning staff goes in with the idea of doing the clean, and they're making sure that everything is cleaned. They're not going in with that lens of what does the guest see. So they may be very minor things, but somebody going in and following that cleaner and saying, oh, the bedding isn't done correctly, or the pillows on the sofa don't look right. Thinking with that lens of what the guest is going to see when they come in is super important. It also gives you a chance to identify any issues that may have been missed. Maybe they missed cleaning a bathroom because it's sort of hidden and this is the first time the housekeeper has been in there. That quality assurance inspection is going to catch that before the guest does, and ultimately drives the confidence and saves you a lot of time down the line. The second piece of this, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, is the idea of routine or preventative maintenance. This is something that a lot of companies struggle with because they have to remember to do it. They have an Excel file, or, someone knows that every October we do this thing of testing the smoke detectors or whatever it is. But we never know exactly what house. We try to do it. Being a little bit more prescriptive here is also super important. So having it documented and know that all of this work was done, not only that it was done, but when it was done, when it needs to be done next, did you find any issues, etc. And this, that's not just checking your smoke alarms, but it might be deep cleans or cleaning the top of the fridge, which doesn't happen every single time between guests when you have 6 hours between stays. And then the last piece on this that I want to talk about is that certifying your vacation rentals or your holiday rentals are guest safe, and then marketing them. So this is where that piece, when I talked about what we do, we have our operations product, but we also have our safety component. So we have a director of safety and certification at Breezeway who has developed, it's called the STRSI, so short-term rental safety inspector course. That is a virtual course that your team can take that will train your staff on identifying safety concerns or safety hazards. That is then, your staff is then trained, which is obviously very important, something you can tout to your existing owners, your guests, your prospective homeowners. So it's something that can be marketed, but it also is, once they're certified, you can then sell safety certifications to your homeowners and You didn't hear it from me, but a lot of our clients are actually marking those up. So they pay Breezeway and then they do the work. So there is an additional revenue stream for their business in doing this. And that's a win-win. Your company is making money. Your owners are impressed with the fact that you're taking this additional investment and action on behalf of their homes. And your guests feel really good about staying in a home that they know has been certified and is safe. And that is, at the end of the day, the key piece, right, of what we're trying to do. That survey result at the bottom, 95% of companies saying they plan on making changes so that guests feel more confident in their rentals. And, all of these things, right? They walk in and everything is spotless. They walk in and they see a safety certification. All of these things drive that confidence across your team. We're going to talk really quickly about doubling down on client communication. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in Breezeway, but specifically today, being really proactive about your processes, what has changed, what the experience is going to look like for your guests when they arrive or get to your destination is really important. We had this conversation before we started the webinar about what's going on where you are. Every place is different. What's happening in France is different than what's happening in England versus what's happening in, Boston or in different states within the US. And I say Boston because that's where I'm located. So when people are traveling, they may have a general idea of what's happening, but they may not really know exactly what to expect. And that's, an opportunity for you to have a touch point for them to, again, make sure they have a great stay. Mid-stay, I think there's varying levels of how people use this. Some people offer mid-stay services, other people do not. So if that's something that you are doing, continue to communicate that. Make sure that people understand that if there is a maintenance issue, that they know what is expected, right? Your team is only handling very urgent issues while guests are in house. Everything else is being tackled once they've departed. If they are going in while the guest is still in house, what are the sort of stipulations? Does the guest need to vacate the property, etc.? And the third one we're going to talk a lot about, I promise, at the very end of the deck, about communicating the value of your service to homeowners. Excuse me. We saw a lot of people with everything going on really increase how they spoke to and what they spoke to their homeowners about, whether that meant changing out linens and how they were handling that for their business, given everything going on with the coronavirus, or just communicating what they were seeing in their market, what was the reaction from guests, figuring out additional ways and additional touch points on how you can communicate with your homeowners is super important. And again, the stat below just shows that a lot of people are planning to do that and to communicate. So we're going to spend the next 10 minutes or so really talking a little bit about how Breezeway can help you accomplish some of the things we just talked about. As I said earlier, we work with professional managers. We are really excited about our partnership with BookingSync, and a lot of mutual clients are leveraging the integration to allow them to very easily use Breezeway service in addition to BookingSync software as well. So quickly about the integration, we pull not only your property information from BookingSync, but also your reservations. So as you're taking bookings, those are flowing over to Breezeway, and we're then able to take action and schedule the work and things that need to be done. We actually just made an improvement to our connection, which is super exciting for BookingSync clients. We are also pulling all of the booking tags that you have. So if you're tagging your owner stays versus your guest stays, we're now pulling all of that information over, and we're updating that so that you can schedule different work when it's a guest coming in versus when it's an owner coming in. So really excited about that. So we talked a little bit in the first couple of slides about making sure that the right people are doing the right job, right jobs at the right times. I mentioned our workflows. So again, thinking about that integration with BookingSync, we are pulling reservations from the system, and then we build these automated rules in Breezeway. And when I say we build automated rules, that sounds really kind of scary and very complicated. And I promise you that it's not. But we essentially take your existing process and what you do, and we digitize that. So we make it really easy for the right work to be scheduled on departures or arrivals, to differentiate, again, as I mentioned, between when an owner is coming in versus when a guest is. So we're assigning the right people at the right time. That's all automated, which means that your team doesn't really have to do much other than maybe review it. We also, if your reservation moves in BookingSync, we will move that work as well. So it really does. I don't want to say it's a set it and forget it, because that's definitely not the case. We know that this is a complex piece of the business, but we try to take a lot of the guesswork out of it and make it really easy for you to do it, and to do your scheduling and communicate that out to your team. So again, if a reservation changes and the clean gets moved, we will move that and communicate the change to the cleaner so that they are aware and your team doesn't have to do that. So all of this work is customized, it's automated, smartly assigns the right people on the right days to the right times. And we're giving you and showing you alerts when a company, when an individual person may be overbooked and you've perhaps scheduled too much to them. We also have that real-time notification of completed work, as I mentioned earlier, where the cleaner finishes and it notifies the next person that he or she needs to go in and do the work. And the last thing on here I think is really important. I alluded to this a little earlier when we talked about modernizing your communication, is that today, when there is damage or when something isn't working, that often results in a phone call, often results in the cleaner or whomever is in the unit saying, hey, the dishwasher is leaking, or the toilet won't flush, or there's a drip in the sink, or whatever it may be. Our system is actually going to allow you, from the comfort of your little mobile computer, your little mobile phone, to say, hey, this isn't working, and to automate that with a notification to the supervisor, for you or someone on your team to be able to then triage that, determine who's going to do it, assign it out. And then when that's done, it can be communicated to your homeowners. And we'll talk about that in just a second as well. The other thing, and I want to talk about this because we touched on it when I think it was I'm looking back here, 79% of respondents to the survey are planning to customize the work that is done at the properties. This, again, as I mentioned earlier, has been really difficult. It has been an area that a lot of companies have struggled with. So they've assigned the same work to all of the properties. And if this home is very different, well, we hope that you remember that this home is different. Customizing the checklists for each of the homes that the work is being completed on, and then taking those appropriate actions is really important. So at Breezeway, you create one general checklist, call it the master template, of what you need to do. And then when you go into a home for the very first time, if let's say we're in a bathroom that doesn't have a shower, right, because it's just a powder room, I can indicate that. And then on every subsequent visit to that house, I'm not being asked to do something at this shower. So they become tailored and personalized to the individual home that the work is being completed at. And then additionally, you can supplement that master template with what we refer to as property specific requirements, which allow you to say, at this house, there's this thing, or this owner wants this thing done only at this home. And then that is displayed to your team when they're in the field completing the work there. So you're able to really drive a very tailored, customized experience without having to do that, without having to create that experience 200 times or 50 times, depending on how many properties you're working with. Verifying the work all through our system. Again, I mentioned we have the mobile app where they're completing those checklists. It's also tracking how long that job takes. So that's going to help you when you're making those decisions of who should go there and does anybody have additional bandwidth where we're not using all of their time. It also has GPS tracking. So you will have a map view that you can see, which will actually show you where your team is at any given moment. And that is incredibly useful when you have that last minute urgent issue coming in from a guest where something is broken. You can see who is closest and who can I assign there. And lastly, you can require that the team in the field actually upload photos, as well as you can display photos of how things should look. Again, to drive and make sure that there's compliance across your brand standards. So, we talked about the importance of going in and doing and verifying the work and having a quality insurance person come in. If that isn't feasible for your team based off of size or workforce or distribution of your properties, requiring that they take photos and that they can see how a room is supposed to look will give you an edge up on that, even if you can't send someone to do that individually to every property. And then the last one, we have talked about this a couple of times as we've gone through this deck today. Report and showcase the value of what you're doing to your homeowners. I really can't stress this enough. Most of the time when we talk to businesses, they say that their homeowners know about 20% of the work that they have done. Usually that 20% of the work is in the form of a line item on an owner statement that gets sent at the end of the month with their revenue. And I would argue that that's just not enough, right? That's not enough to fully encompass everything that you're doing. When we talk to companies and we ask them, why do homeowners leave your property or leave your property management company, or why do they leave your program? It's not because, sometimes it is, right? But generally it's not because, oh, we were down 10% of revenue rental from last year, or, oh, they didn't get enough bookings, or whatever the case may be. It's because when that homeowner comes into their home, they don't have a pleasant experience. Something that they have told you is wrong or is broken has not been addressed. It's still there. It's still wrong. They have to call you and say, you have the wrong bedding in the wrong room, or whatever it may be. And some people are probably laughing and shaking their head thinking they're going to leave you because you have the wrong bedding in the wrong room. I know it sounds totally ridiculous, but I also know that there's some people who are listening to this saying, oh my gosh, I have 2 or 3 owners who would exactly do that. And I think that when we think about that, it is more than just the bedding being wrong. It is that I have regularly told you that this is an issue and you aren't taking an action. So hearing what they want, hearing what's important to them, leveraging those property specific requirements, and showing them, hey, when we went into your house today, look at all of the things we did in the kitchen or just at the refrigerator. Here are photos that we took. That is incredibly important. This is easy to do through our system. Every job that is completed has a report that can be shared via a link. The homeowners don't have to log in to see this. You can send them what you want them to see. There's also some things that you probably don't think they need to see, and that's okay, because you can control what they're seeing. And I think that is super important. You guys do a lot for your homeowners. And so being able to get some credit for the work that you do is incredibly important. And the other thing that I think, our system does, and it touches on the homeowner piece in the sense that there is also an asset management component. So within Breezeway system, not only can you say that these things exist in this particular property or particular home, you can also capture data like makes, models, serial numbers, warranty information, all of that data and that information that is going to allow you to better manage and maintain that home. Again, I've said this before, but you have 100 homeowners with 100 different dishwashers. they have one. They have one home with you with one dishwasher. And if you can't give them information that is relevant to their home, that just chips away at that confidence that they have in you. And you combine that with maybe the bed, the wrong covers in the wrong room. That is why we see that. So leveraging the knowledge that you have, because you have a lot of it, you may just not be, be communicating it, is really powerful. And this is probably, whether you use a system like Breezeway, of course, I hope that you do. I hope that you've found value in what we've talked about today. And you think, wow, we need to add that to our tech stack. But whatever you're doing, think about what you're telling your homeowners and how you're telling them about the work that you're doing, because I promise there's probably some quick wins there. And if you do nothing else to the way that you change your property care program, communicate that value to your homeowners. They are the most important clients that you will have, because they are much harder to get and there is a limited supply of them. So if nothing else that I shared with you today hits the point here, I just want to end on this slide. These improvements and these changes to your business will have a direct impact on your bottom line. These numbers, these stats, this information, all come from client testimonials and client experiences with our system. And I'm confident that there's no one on this call that couldn't use another 30 hours a week of time across their team, that couldn't use, found revenue in supplies that have been being used but not being charged for, or additional revenue streams to their business. So I hope that there was some really great takeaways for you here. I so appreciate you. I said I was going to be 30-ish minutes. I'm a little over, but not too bad. I hope that you found some value here to take and apply to your business. I really appreciate you all taking the time to join us today, and happy to stick around and answer any questions that you may have. We are in BookingSync's integrations partners. Well, one of BookingSync's integration partners. We would encourage you to take a look at what we're doing, reach out. Like I said, I don't do sales, but I'm happy to put you in touch with someone on our team who can do a true demo of the product and really understand how it could benefit your organization. Thanks, Audrey and Megan and the whole BookingSync team for having us. And thanks to all of you for your time today. So happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corinne, for this the great presentation and your great energy. It's nice to hear. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. And yeah, I love the last feature you described about the reports that we can send to owners. I was super impressed by the statistic you gave that owners would know only 20% of the job that property manager is doing in their property. So yeah, it really shows that there is.
I want my boss to know more than 20% of what I'm doing.
Exactly,
I'm sure we all do.
And I think it's super valuable actually that if a property manager provide owners with such a report and such information to show them a mark of trust, and they're so super interesting. And you also mentioned about some features that are integrated to BookingSync or that will be integrated. I just wanted to point out to our common clients, if there is any feature you think of that could be integrated to BookingSync. We are super open to get your feedback and to get your recommendations on how we could also improve the integration. So either you reach out to Breezeway or to us. No problem at all. We are really happy to discuss about it with you.
And Audrey, that's where this tag came from, is exactly that. A mutual BookingSync client was saying, hey, this is how we're differentiating that. Is it possible to pool? And we went to our development team and we're able to pool this, and we can apply it now to all BookingSync clients. So as you said, we also are totally open to making improvements.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Yeah, we know how much property manager like integrating a solution, and so that's why we work close to you, and it's awesome that you're also taking taking this feedback into consideration, and that your development team was able to bring these improvements. I see there is one question, Corinne, in the chat. Someone would like to get the presentation of today. Is it fine for you? So I was thinking, because I will also send the recording to everyone, to the participants and to the people who signed up to the webinar. So then I would attach the presentation you're going to send me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it available to folks. And if you, I just stopped the share because I couldn't see the questions and the share at the same time. You know, my email, I'll add it here into the chat as well in case anybody didn't get it. If you need it right away, you are welcome also to email me, and we can send that over to you. So everybody has my email as well.
Awesome. Perfect. So if I'm gonna ask to unmute the microphones. If anyone wants to ask a question live, feel free to do it now.
This is always the moment of truth. You either did a really great job and everyone got all of their questions answered. It's late in the day.
Can
here,
you
there
hear
we go.
me?
Oh.
Yeah, we do.
Hi. First of all, thank you very much for this presentation. It was very interesting. I would be interested in knowing if you are working currently on some solution correlated to security deposits. You know, when you have multiple properties, and as you said, in each home you have different assets. And I was working on some kind of security deposit pictures before and after, to know if our guests broke something or if there was a stain, you know, and our staff, it's the first in line. They have the first in line to actually spot those defects, those damages.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's a great question. It's not a specific security it's not a specific security deposit like product. But you know, just like I shared with you that report, or I didn't share the report, but I talked about the report that can be sent to the homeowner. That's generated before and after every task that's done. So a lot of our clients are using that, using those in damage disputes and that security deposit disputes that may be happening, to say, hey, here's the inspection or the clean with photos that we did at 10:45 on the day of arrival, and here's the one we did at 10:45 on the day of departure, and you can see the differences, and the only person that was in that unit was this guest. So I mean, those pictures can be taken, they're all on there, and that report can be shared with homeowners. You actually control what is on the report. So in this instance, you know, if you're doing it for security damage disputes, you know, what you can actually do is say, I only want to show the issues that we found, and you can have those photos in there, and that is what will be on the report. So they don't need to know everything else that you did in the unit. They just need to see the issues that were reported, and that can be shared that way as well. And we've had a lot of people who say, I go to offer the question, or not the question, I send the report and say, well, here are the photos that we took the morning that you left. You know, if you can explain to me how these things got broken, since here are the photos before you came in, that usually quickly ends the conversation. Because they don't realize, right, that you're doing that, and that you have that photographic evidence of it. And we know, I'm sure everyone on the call can agree. I mean, I don't know, but everything that I have heard is that the guests this year have been more challenging than ever. So I'm sure you're getting a lot of those types of situations. So you could definitely use it for this security damage.
Okay, perfect. So just to be clear, I could also ask my staff to take certain pictures of certain objects, like do them a to-do list in relation to those pictures?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
So you can show them, here's how the room should look, and I want you to take a picture of the room after it's been cleaned. Okay, and that will be on that report. Tailored.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thanks for your time today.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? I think we just did such a great job.
Good, exactly. Your presentation was really, really great and really clear. And there is also no more question in the chat. So okay, if I suggest that then we close the webinar. I would like to thank you again, Corinne, and the whole team at Breezeway for taking the time today for organizing this webinar with us. Thanks for introducing Breezeway to our BookingSync clients. And of course, if you have any questions, either to Breezeway or to us, feel free to contact both our team. We are in close contact. So yeah, if there is anything, I'll make sure to reach out to the Breezeway team, and the same on their side. So
thank you so much.
Don't hesitate.
Great.
All right, Corinne, wishing you a great day and great afternoon for the ones in Europe. And yeah, take good care. Good luck with the situation for your personal and professional lives. And see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.